Hello, welcome back to Otter Pop Culture, and today is Monday, which means Movie Monday, sometimes. But today is definitely a Movie Monday. In this one, I'm doing the review of the 2020 movie, live action movie called Mulan, oh my god, Mulan. So Mulan came out 2020 with a kind of live action direction, and Disney wanted to lean into more of a kind of a going off the more accurate direction too, which is I do appreciate. I do see. I'm a huge fan of the 1998 movie. I thought it was really fun. I thought the characters were really nice. I thought everything looked great, and I really love the fact that it was my first time being introduced to a Chinese character in Disney. So I was very stoked about it. In this movie, I know there's a lot of things going on with the background of it and stuff like that. So I want to make sure to say a couple disclaimers before I start. First thing is that thank you in advance for your patience of how I pronounce these names. I will be very honest, I'm not really that great at pronouncing names, but I'll do my best. And second disclaimer, this is completely more of my opinion about this movie, as usual of all my other reviews. So if you don't like it, that's completely your side, that's completely your right. You can say down, I don't really like it, blah, 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 whatever. But this is strictly my opinion. So there's going to be some things that I'm going to talk about what I think about it compared to the broad popular opinion. Most of it I'll be on the side of it, but there's some things that I want to talk about when it comes to the sides of the controversy with the movie and the settings and everything. But first, let's talk about the movie itself. So, the movie, if you don't know who Mulan is or the plot of this movie in the 1998 one, pretty much a young Chinese maiden as they call it, disguises herself as a male warrior to go into the war to face against the Chinese opposite villain army that's coming after them. Knowing that her father was a veteran in the army and he was requested to be, or commanded to be, going back into war to face against the opposing group, she instead pretty much disguises herself as a man and just goes after that and takes his place. So in this one I was talking about the production. Very beautiful. Every single bit of it is really, really nice. Like, I love the visuals, the gold on the Emperor's, seat and everything. Like, it's majestic. Yi Fa Lu, who plays Mulan, is gorgeous. She looks the part. She's everything that I would think if I was looking for, a cast calling kind of direction. I would definitely pick her. So I'm very glad that they did pick her. I don't remember her inside this movie, even though I did see it, but she was in Forbidden Kingdom, which is one of the movies I really liked, but I don't really remember her in it, but I could be completely just right over the head when it comes to, oh, she was in this part, or she might have been young, she definitely probably was younger. But yeah, so I thought she did a good job in the physical look and everything. Her action was really good. I like the idea that they leaned into more of a Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon kind of direction, which is really, really cool. And on top of that, having some of those Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon people inside of it as well, which is kind of cool. Shout out to the matchmaker, Ching, who I've seen her in a lot of things, and I definitely seen her in Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon as the biggest part. But I I adored her in that movie. So seeing her again, I was like, oh my gosh, she's here. So she's not even playing. She's not even playing what she usually She's a matchmaker, so she's had that whole kind of the lips and everything made, and she has the attitude like they did inside the actual live or the animation movies. So I thought it was really nice. A couple other things. Acting wise for Yifei, I don't think that she did. I think there were some pieces where she did come off as very dry and very just emotionless, and some pieces, but I felt like in the majority of the movie, I felt like it was appropriate in different parts to not have emotion or not show anything, because I felt like it felt like she was trying to hide a lot of herself. So I think in that direction, it's easy to not have emotions than to have some. And I think that we're very sensitive as Americans to have a lot of like emotional crying, fall on the floor, and and especially in Mulan, where she was definitely emotional in that one. But I felt like just because she had some more emotions in the original one doesn't mean she needs to be emotional in this live action. I think I think they're not trained. I think people were so leaning into Disney doing exactly what they did with Mulan 1988 or 1998. That they were just like, oh my god, I can't believe she has no emotion. I was like, have you seen any of the other movies? Like Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, there's a lot of people that don't have too much emotion, but it's not, because that's not the focus of the whole thing, you know? Anyway, I digress. A couple other things, I know that they switched up the Huns and Sanju sorry, I'm literally thinking as Brorid Khan. I know that they're supposed to switch it up to make it more accurate. I thought that he did a great job. He looks exactly like the guy from the live animation. I know I keep on mentioning animation, but these are the only two directions I've seen, so I'm kind of basing off of those kind of thing. But trust me, I'll make sure that I am definitely leaning into this direction. So yeah, he did a good job. He looks amazing. I looked at him outside of this because I had to look him up and look what he was in, and he's pretty hot. He's very hot, actually. He's in Dragon, the Bruce Lee story, which is I feel like I've seen like pieces of it, but not all of it. Back to the Future 2 and Lilo and Stitch, which I really think that's really cute that he was in Lilo and Stitch. I think he was. I typed this down, but I didn't really think about who he was. I think he was Lilo's sister's like love interest. I wonder if that was the same guy. Anyway, so yeah, did a good job. He did a great job, and I love that they loved, and also was confused for a minute, but then I kind of grew into it, that they changed the Hawk into an actual person who's supposed to be a witch. But they kind of did a little weird direction where they called her a witch, but then also called Mulan a witch when her chi was very powerful, because they're mixing it, saying like, oh, chi is very great, but only men can practice their chi and women can't. So if they do, they're witches. And so it's just like, I don't think that's how it works. I definitely think the person that was a witch is actually a witch. Like, she has way more powers than Mulan it showed throughout the whole movie. So there's that part where, like, let me get her name right. Wow, I really wrote this down without thinking about the whole thing. Anyway, so they had like a whole conversation with her and Mulan, and she's like, we're so much alike, and she's like, I'm nothing like you. And I was like, yeah, you're nothing like her. You guys we haven't really established if she even has chi, is a power, if that's why she can turn to hawks and different things and stuff like that, or is it just the fact that she just has powers? They didn't really establish that direction. Mulan has a sister, which I thought was really cute. I love the sister. I thought she was adorable. Instead of Mushu, they replaced Mushu with a phoenix, which the phoenix was really beautiful. It took me a while to get exactly why it was there, but then as they went on, they explained it. I don't have an opinion whether I like the fact that Mushu was in it or not. I preferred that he wasn't. I was glad he wasn't. I felt like that's very towing that line between the seriousness and more authentic direction of their doing, and then having a talking dragon with a black actor doing it. It makes no sense. It made sense in 1998 when we were doing that, but this does not make sense at any point. So I'm glad they did it. I know people were like, "Oh my God, he's not in it." It's if you're really thinking that, you're completely missing the whole point. One piece that people also didn't like is the fact that there were no music. There was no musicals. It wasn't a musical, and there wasn't any singing breaks in it. And I think that if you've seen Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, Fearless, the one of, what was the other one I wrote down that I really liked? was it Enter the Dragon? Man, like there's no musicals in these fighting movies. Why would there be? I understand that it's Disney and you want to have that, but I think we've had a couple of Disney movies, Maleficent, where there was no musicals and everybody was very cool with that. So don't understand why people were making such a huge deal over it. And even though when I watched it, I was like, okay, no musicals, fine. But of course, listened. If you listen to the background music, there is hints where they do like kind of like just this instrumental of different songs happening in different times, or they'll talk, or the guy that's playing Hong, hope I pronounce this right, Hong Hui is very hot, but like he pretty much what he said, I will make a man out of all of you kind of thing, and that's where it stops. And then they're like the group is talking about the girls they want to be with, and that's supposed to be the girl I'm fighting for kind of thing. I felt like it was really cute. I felt it was perfect, just enough just to get you, just to remind you and then move on. I love that they did that. What's another one? They also had a warrior inside the group that was called Cricket, and he was lucky because he almost get killed multiple times, but he always makes it out. So I think that was really cute to kind of give a little reference, a little nod to the Cricket that was actually in 1998 one. So yeah, so that piece I liked. The movie in general I thought was very, very beautiful. There were some plots where I felt like it was like, oh, okay, that's a little like actually, I thought it was weird until I looked it up and understood the whole thing with her having long hair and not cutting it. Apparently, it's very common to have long hair as a soldier inside the Chinese, like, in that time. So, you put up in a bun, stuff like that. So, but long hair was completely common, so there was no point of her cutting her hair. So, I like that they did that. Now, into the deep meats parts of this. They filmed it in Xinjiang, some of it, and that was very, 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 very naughty for them to do that, because it was in the light of a genocide that happened there, including a re-education, I hate that word, camps. I hate that they're calling it that. I don't think it's re-education is such an innocent way of saying it. So I definitely see that. Don't think that's a great idea. I thought that was horrible, of course. Also, the idea that Yifei was a support of the Hong Kong police. Definitely thought that was kind of like, oh, that sucks. But I also like to point out, as much as I think that I think as much as this is going on, I think as much as she was wrong to do that, I think that when I looked up some things, there seems to be some back and forth over it, that she was being more specific over what she was looking at, and then posted the whole thing. And it reminds me so much of America, with the whole idea of like, oh, blue lives matter thing going around, and it's complete ignorance. You don't understand, and it's just the society has made it seem like police are supposed to protect you, and we're just slowly starting to see that it's not the case. Well, people like me do. We already know this, but white people are starting to see that it's not the case. In general, all of us are starting to see it's not the case. And I think I couldn't help but feel like that's probably what's going on in China too, where it's like, sure, there's a lot of people that disagree with the police, but there's still loyal people that think, oh, the police are supposed to protect us. This cannot be happening. There must be a reason why they're doing this. So that's why I give it a little more grace, because I understand there is a lot of spaces that I don't understand with it, and I also understand where society and a lot of governments manipulate ways to make it seem like they do this, so these people believe that, So, yeah. Going on to the next thing I wanted to point out was they removed Li Shang, but replaced him with Hong Hui, who wasn't really much of a replacement, because he still was like, had this weird chemistry with Mulan throughout the whole time. But apparently they replaced it because in light of the Me Too movement, because they didn't want the idea that him being in a commanding position and trying to course Mulan into romance, which I thought was okay, but that never happened in 1998's version. Like, it never happened. I don't think he ever kissed her or did anything to her. He was very gentle with her because she was fucking amazing, and he might have had some feelings for a man, but I don't think it was any. If I think I know from this one and from the other and from 1998 one is that he never really expressed any type of like romance piece until she was out of the army, the military, that group. So don't really understand what that was made. It made no sense because then you have Hong Hui. So then it's like, what's the point? Why didn't you just keep Li Shang? So why didn't you keep him? You know, but they technically did. Also, I've heard that he's also a bisexual icon in a way. The character is, which is I think is a little bit of misunderstanding, but I understand the idea of where they're going with that. Anyway, so yeah, so I have to admit, I think I liked it. I didn't really think that it was stop everything and watch it kind of thing. No, definitely not. But I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the idea of it. I enjoyed everything about it. I definitely think that there definitely could have been a little more action or a little more activity in spaces that were kind of just bland after a minute. Like there's a little of nothing going on in some scenes. But I wish there was something going on in those scenes. But other than that, it was a decent reimagination, live action version of it. I give it an 8 out of 10, out of 5. Sorry, so 3 out of 5. I think it was decent. Leave a comment below, tell me what you thought. If you liked it, let me know. If you liked the video, hit like. If hit the subscribe button as well. And if you want to see more of my videos, hit the notification bell so you can get more of my videos. And thank you for watching. And I'll see you all in the next video.